Hey guys, what's up? This is Lindsay and welcome back to another video, and here we have another weekly spread, and this time we are going full on cutesy sea otter theme, and I honestly thought it would be pretty hard to incorporate it in a weekly spread, but I managed to figure out some things, to be honest. So I really kept it much on par with how the rest of my monthly layout is. So I utilized the reds, the greens, and the yellows to give a little bit more of dimension in terms of the color palette, but also with something that stands on its own and kind of screams spring, because where I live, it's pretty much a gamble with what kind of weather we get. So here I'm giving a little bit of a taste of spring, but honestly our spring doesn't really start until probably mid-April. So with my layouts, honestly, I went more for the free floating style than something that's like really super structured, just because I already knew that it can get very cramped very easily, if that makes sense. Just because, I don't know, with the way that I draw kind of huge to be honest, and I knew that if I was trying to do like the sea otters, I wouldn't properly be able to fit at least one, knowing that my weekly layout is very structured and that took up most of the page. So I opted just to do this like free floating one, which I really like, because the finished product, it does look quite busy, but not in a bad way, but it's to where that open space between the days actually balance out everything that's going on. The key to making the sea otter kind of look a little bit more realistic than anything was me kind of doing little scribbles on the outlines of the actual otter, just because those squiggles, I really don't know what to call them, but they kind of give this impression that they're like hairs, little bits of hair, just because normally otters don't have long hair, they have short hair. And sometimes in the water their hair is very much slicked back, but because I didn't want it looking like a ferret, I opted for the hair to be sticking out. Oh, and a big difference that I actually did was that I started adding this shadowing onto the drawing, just because it gives it a little bit more of a 3D look. At this point, I felt like I went a little OD with the sea otters and kind of made it seem like sea otters kind of threw up all over my bullet journal. So I really wanted to make something different that didn't have it, and I kind of stumbled a little bit for a while, and then I was kind of flipping through my entire March setup and kind of got inspired again, if that makes any sense. So basically the layout where my playlist is, I really wanted to capture that again, because one, I loved how it looked, two, it didn't have to do with, you know, the sea otters and having any intricate drawings or anything. It was just really simple, really cute, very collage based, and I wanted to capture that again, but I had to work really differently because obviously I didn't want to make the boxes for the days of the week too small, because then I wouldn't be able to utilize them and kind of write down what I need to do for my day-to-day, tasks. But I did come up with a solution, and I think it looks really cute. speaking of something different, I want to bring this story up to you guys because I find it funny but kind of shocking. So the other day I was talking to this like 16-year-old at my job because he came in with his mom looking for a suit for some event he was going to. But I pretty much brought up the notion like, oh, do you know Steve Urkel? Because, you know, you don't want your pants being that high when you get them tailored. And he was just like, what's Steve Urkel? Like, who's that? And then me and his mom start laughing, but I was so in shock. And his mom really was just like, oh, he wouldn't know what that is. Like, he wouldn't know who that is. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, he wouldn't know. And I'm just like, oh my God, you make me feel kind of old. Because granted, I'm only 25, but anyone who's born in the 90s know that at the end of the night where Nickelodeon stopped playing cartoons, they would start playing like those sitcom shows. Everyone who would either watch the shows like Full House, Family Matters, things like that, or there were the type of kids who just didn't have the attention span for it and would like move over to Cartoon Network. I was one of those people that moved over to Cartoon Network, except if Full House came on. But I was so shocked to know that a 16-year-old wouldn't know who Steve Urkel is. Am I the only one who kind of like gets shocked by that, or do you not know who Steve Urkel is? Leave a comment down below. Oh, and the same thing applies to anime. I literally go bat crazy when people tell me they don't know what the Big O is, Trigon, Cowboy Bebop. Like, I literally feel like I want to pull my hair. Now, with my last weekly spread, you'll notice that I don't include the last few days of March, and that's because what I'm going to be doing differently is that depending on where the week cutoffs for the month is, I will either put it in that current month's spread or probably the following month. So for example, for March, there's a few days that kind of bleed into April, and since it's more days for April versus more days of March, it's going to be put into my April plan with me, if that makes any sense. But pretty much it's just if I made a new weekly spread for March with those few days, I personally feel like I'm wasting paper, and I don't want to do that. If you're curious as to what brush pen I'm using my Tombow Fudenosuke soft tip, not hard. So fun fact, I just bought it on Amazon one day and didn't realize that it wasn't the hard tip and it really was a soft one. I always wondered why my writing wasn't, I guess, comparable to other people's way of, writing words, and eventually I can say that I found the hang for it, and I definitely can say that my handwriting has significantly improved. I just want to say thank you guys for all the lovely feedback and all your beautiful words on this monthly spread, just because I really had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do for a theme. And after scrapping like 3 different ideas, I finally came up with this theme, and it's something that I've never really done before, especially incorporating the brown paper bag, but I think it turned out great. So thank you guys again. You guys are just super awesome and super supportive, and it really makes me feel good about being able to do what I do. And with that being said, don't forget to make sure that you're subscribed, but also thumbs up this video. It helps me out a lot. And also don't forget to hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And until next time, bye!